get started, smash that like button, turn it notification, and comment down below, subscribe. I did it again. Doesn't Cheetos got my cola, Dr. Pepper, sorry. But this is actually a different story. Not a different story, but yeah. I'm going to be watching a, what's it called? True McDonald's Horror Story Animated. Let's watch. So this is true. I don't think it will be true though. Mr. Haunted. The music's scary. True McDonald's Horror Story. I don't think it is true.
In 2016, I went to a McDonald's with my friend, who we'll call Ashton for privacy reasons. On this night, we had just seen a movie with his girlfriend, and after the movie, we all got hungry, so we decided to hit up our local McDonald's to go.
Why is the McDonald's sign flashing like this?
Grab a bite. It was nearing midnight, so there were barely any cars out at this time. We went to the McDonald's, ordered our food, and sat down at a table. Ashton and his girlfriend were sitting down facing me, and I was facing them.
Oh, that's kind of creepy then.
As we were eating, I see a middle-aged man sitting
Even like if you saw Squidward.
across from us with a little boy that looked to be about 7 or 8. The thing I remember most vividly about the boy was the extremely empty, pale look on his face. On top of that, he wasn't even eating. He kind of just sat there watching what I assumed to be his dad. At one point, the guy gets up and grabs the boy's hand, and eventually they come to us. The man starts to ask Ashton if he had any spare cash on him. While he was talking to Ashton, the boy looks at me and stares at me with eyes open wide as possible. I'll admit, it was a bit creepy, but what he said next made me want to puke. "That's not my dad. I've been kidnapped. Please help me." My blood turned to ice as I heard him say that. The man then looked at the boy and then at me, and with that, they left out the McDonald's, as I knew that he caught on to my suspicion. Ashton and his girlfriend seemed to catch on as well.
But is that kid really his dad or is it not? Oh, I'm holding the popo. Are you?
And I immediately dialed 911.
Yep.
I explained everything to the operator and gave her a description of the man and the boy. They came, but nothing ever became of it. A few weeks later, I was watching the news, and there was a missing child report that came on. When I saw who the missing child was, I nearly screamed. It was the same kid at the McDonald's. They unfortunately found his body.
Found his body dead! Oh my god. That was scary. Did you see that face? What? Look at the face.
When I
Not
saw
his
who
face.
the missing child was, I nearly screamed.
Look at that kid's face. That's so scary. That's so scary. Look at it. I can't. It's too scary. Carry on.
It was the same kid at the McDonald's. They unfortunately found his body by a canal not far from my house, and at that point, I knew that the man had something to do with this. Apparently, he had been missing for well over 6 months.
Jesus, over 6 months?
Ever since the day he got missing. They aren't sure as to how he died, but the news said that he had died due to dehydration, which I found very false. Ever since that day, I feel so helpless and heartbroken for that boy. There are truly some messed up people in this world that do horrible things.
Oh my god! Did you see that? Look at the door in McDonald's.
Ever since that day, I feel so helpless.
Look at the door.
For that boy. There are truly some messed up
The
people
door!
in this
Oh
world
my
that do
god!
horrible things. I hope you could use my story to create awareness as to how these things happen all too often, and how you could take action to help make the world a better place.
He took the girl! At the door, he took the girl. let's go on our next story. This is called True Horror, McDonald's Horror Story again.
Getting wasted. I thought about our last kiss, how it felt, the way you tasted.
I've been working at McDonald's now for over 5 years, and this is still my creepiest.
Let's do this one actually. This is gonna be.
McDonald's, one of the world's most famous fast food restaurants. Even though it's not very healthy, it can be very convenient. Since McDonald's is open 24 hours a day, but even in such a fun and friendly place, strange things can happen that even if you tried, you weren't able to forget them. Something like this happened to me, a story so unnerving and terrifying that I'll never forget. It happened 3 years ago, when I was 17. I was in desperate need of a job because to complete my education I needed to pay off my college fees. Finally, I got a job in McDonald's to make my boss
Congratulations.
happy. I had to work whatever shift he asked me to do, whether it be a night or a day shift, and to work as many hours as he wanted. At this point, I had been working at McDonald's for 3 months, but I had only been working day shifts. One day, my boss called me into his room and told me that because I had been working at McDonald's for months now and gained a lot of experience, I was ready for night shifts. My boss also told me that night shifts can be very quiet and asked me
Quiet.
if I had a problem with it. I told him that no, it wouldn't bother me. My boss told me
wouldn't
that I
bother
would
me.
start my night shifts from Saturday.
If I did a night shift, I would be terrified of it. There's hardly nobody here, so why are we still here?
That'd be from 12 o'clock till 5 o'clock. I arrived at McDonald's at 12 o'clock on Saturday. My manager told me that my tasks were to refill the ketchup, mayonnaise, and barbecue sauce bottles, clean
That Ronald McDonald is creepy.
the floor, and clean the tables. He gave me a long list of things to do. After telling me everything, the manager went home. McDonald's was fairly quiet that night, but I didn't really notice the silence because I was busy in my work. I needed to do a lot. As I was doing my work, I never really noticed the time, and suddenly it was 2 o'clock.
Leave a like if you're scared.
It was a little odd. I noticed that no customers arrived in McDonald's until that time, but I was fine with it. I just wanted to finish my work quickly, since tomorrow I had to report it to the manager.
Oh
I was
god,
arranging coffee
that
cups
wasn't
on the
there before,
table
was it?
when I suddenly felt like I was being watched. It was a weird feeling, but I took no notice of
Because
it.
you are.
I
Ronald
told
McDonald is
myself that
watching
since
you.
I had no experience of working late, the weird feeling was because of me staying up. Suddenly, my eyes glanced at the window. When
Just
I looked
leave.
up, I saw a strange black shape, like someone was standing right there.
I'll be back. I just need to go get something real quickly. I need to feel more safe. I need to feel more safe. I brought my Mavis with me.
Staring at me. And I just thought that it must be my imagination. Who would stand outside at this time of night? I
Ronald
continued
McDonald,
my
what the
work
God?
and started cleaning the tables. A bit later, my attention went to the window again. Now it seemed that the black shape was closer, but I reassured myself that I was just seeing things. Nothing of that sort was happening. It was due to tiredness. Then I decided not to look outside anymore and focus on cleaning the tables. So I
Don't go
continued
outside.
working. I was busy doing my work when I heard a noise.
See you. I can see you.
I immediately looked outside. And when I did, my fears were confirmed. A demon whose eyes were red like blood was
Oh my
staring
god.
and constantly banging.
Guys, that is definitely not
On the
real,
window.
okay? Promise, that's definitely not real. Demons aren't even real.
I couldn't stay there for a minute longer. I immediately hung the closed sign on the front door, got into my car, and ran for my life. I was terrified. I called my manager and told him that due to sickness, I was going home. My manager said that it was fine, I could go. I didn't want to tell him what happened to me that night, because I knew if I did, he wouldn't believe me, and I would seem like a fool. Somehow, I managed to drive
Like a
home.
jerk.
I felt a sort of safety and relief as I reached home.
Your house is
and
close to
decided that
McDonald's.
night that I would never, ever do a night shift again, even if I have.
This is going to be the last video we're going to
What's
do
it
now.
like to play Ark Knights? Well, Ark Knights is
But
like
that was
nothing
so creepy,
you've ever
that.
seen before.
Can you imagine that happening?
This is the story of a 15-year-old boy named Daniel, who was living peacefully with his family. He belonged to a very rich family and was the only child of his parents. His parents
Creepy
had
house.
provided him with all the facilities and comforts of life, and he was very close to both of them. But one night changed his life completely. That night, his parents were coming to collect him from his friend's birthday party. They were driving through the woods when suddenly a strange woman came in front of their car out of nowhere.
So whatever.
Daniel's dad lost control and their car hit the woman. The accident was so brutal that the woman and they both died on the spot. Daniel was shattered. After their death, Daniel was left all alone.
The mum and
He
dad
had
died
no
from the
other
car.
family to turn to, except for his aunt and uncle who lived in another town. His aunt and uncle were very sweet and humble. They did not have a child of their own, so they were really happy to raise Daniel as their own son. However, Daniel was in a miserable state and had no other choice but to go with them. His aunt and uncle were rather poor and lived in a very secluded area in a small cottage,
Creepy house.
away from all the hustle and bustle. Their house was in the middle of nowhere. This really bothered Daniel. He could not see any neighboring house for miles. Despite being with his relatives, he felt lonely and started to miss his dead parents even more. But his aunt and uncle were extremely loving and caring towards him. They were doing their best to comfort Daniel and didn't want to see him suffer. Slowly, Daniel was starting to feel much better and was settling down. He started smiling again and was getting very close to them. but he still missed his parents very much. One night, Daniel woke up to something that shook his soul.
Carry on. That's the one we got run over, isn't it? Oh my god! What was that? Don't go to the window! Is it gonna be behind him? No. God, guys, I'm actually panicking right now. This definitely isn't true.
Next morning, he told his aunt and uncle about what he saw in the window, but they didn't believe him
Damn it.
and told him that they had been living in this house for years and nothing strange ever happened with them. This is
Because it was the woman that
very
ran
scary
over.
and his nightmare.
Big dumb bat.
But Daniel was sure about what he saw. The next night, when Daniel was about to fall asleep, he heard someone walking in his room.
No. Be his aunt or uncle, please.
The city is lost. There's nothing we can do now but hide and wait it out.
He could not see a thing because the room was dark. Auntie? Is that you?
Oh my goodness. Oh my god.
Daniel, wake up. Daniel told his aunt and uncle everything. He was terrified and looked miserable. They were really worried for him. They were so happy that Daniel was coming back to his normal self. But now he looked even more miserable than before. The next few nights, Daniel could not sleep at all. He was afraid to even close his eyes. This was really affecting his health. He wouldn't talk or behave like he used to. They could not bear to see his health deteriorate like that. They felt as if they were losing their own child, and when they could not do anything to save him, they decided to take him to a good psychiatrist. After examining Daniel's condition, the psychiatrist told them that Daniel is suffering from severe mental trauma after his parents' sudden death. It seems like the loss of his parents has affected him so much, both mentally and emotionally, that he has developed schizophrenia, a condition which is causing him to see things which aren't real. He prescribed Daniel some strong antipsychotic medications and told them that he should take these medications regularly. Otherwise, Daniel's condition can deteriorate to the point of no return. His aunt and uncle started taking care of Daniel more than ever. They made sure he takes his medications regularly. But sadly, Daniel's condition was not improving. One night, his uncle felt really sick, and his aunt had to rush him to the hospital in the middle of the night. Daniel was asleep. His aunt did not want to wake him up because she was afraid that he might not fall back to sleep. So she locked him in the house and drove to the hospital.
No, why would you do that?
Daniel heard the car leaving.
This is the state's case against Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
And woke up. Auntie? Uncle? He realized that he was all alone in the house. That was enough to make him paranoid. He knew that any second that woman would appear from the dark, and there will be nobody to save him tonight. This will be his end. Anxiety hit him so hard that he started searching for his pills like a lunatic. All he wanted was to take his pills so he could calm himself and hide under the blankets. When he couldn't find his pills anywhere, he thought that his aunt must have put them somewhere in her room. He got enough courage to get out of bed and ran towards her bedroom. He started searching for his pills, but he could not see them anywhere. Where did she keep them?
No, don't open the cupboard, please.
A mask? That night, Daniel found out that his aunt and uncle were behind all this. Their plan was to drive him insane and send him to an asylum so they can get all the wealth Daniel's parents had left for him. They would have succeeded if Daniel hadn't found that mask that night in his aunt's wardrobe. After that, Daniel left their house, called the police for help, and his greedy aunt and uncle finally got what they deserved.
Yay! That was so scary. Why would his aunt and uncle do that? But now where will Daniel live now? So that must have been real. But it's just his aunt and uncle being really horrible to him. Because look, think about it. When the aunt and uncle adopted him, they look really annoyed. Look. Look at their faces. They're like, And then they tried scaring him so that he wouldn't come back. Okay, but thank you guys for watching. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do exactly what...